Good. Good morning, everyone. This is Teacher Joanna, and I will be your teacher in science. Now, before we start our lesson, let us first have these words. Everyone, are you ready? Okay, very good. Everyone, reproduce. Again, reproduce. Okay, let's have flatter. Everyone, let us read flatter. And then we have entirely. Again, entirely. Okay, so the words are reproduce, flatter, and entirely. Now, do you know the meaning of the words? Okay, so let us know the meaning of the words, everyone. So when we say reproduce, meaning produce again, that is reproduce. Do you understand? Okay, and then when we say flatter, that is fly or move, that is flatter. And then when we say entirely, the whole or completely. So those are the meaning of the words. So reproduce, produce again. Flatter, fly or move. Entirely, the whole or completely. Now, today we are going to talk about how flowering plants reproduce or how flowering plants produce again. Okay, so sexual reproduction of plants. Remember that flowering plants, almost 90% of the species in the plant kingdom are flowering plants. How many percent? 90%. So botanists label flowering plants as angiosperms. Okay, so what is the label for flowering plants? Angiosperms. Okay, angiosperms. So botanists call the flowering plants as angiosperms. Okay, so everyone, when we say angiosperms, unlike gymnosperms or non-flowering plants have seed. Okay, angiosperms have seed that are enclosed in a container called ovary. So what is the difference between angiosperms and gymnosperms? Angiosperms have seeds in the ovary, while gymnosperms don't have because they are non-flowering plants. Okay, remember that flowers are the reproductive structures of plants. So what is the reproductive structures of plants? Flowers. So their most important function are to ensure fertilization of the egg cell within the ovule and to help in the development of the ovary into a fruit that contains the seed. Okay, so again, flowers are the reproductive structures of plant. Now, the function of these flowers are to ensure the fertilization of the egg cell within the ovule and to help in the development of the ovary into a fruit that contains the seed. Do you understand? Okay, so let's talk about the parts of the flowers. So, everyone, a flower is composed of the following parts. We have the corolla, the calyx, the stamen, the pistil, the receptacle, the we have the peduncle. Okay, so those are the parts of the flower. Now, when we say corolla, it comprises the petals of the flower. So, they function for protection and attraction. Now, corolla comprises the petals of the flower. And the function of corolla is to protect and to attract. Okay, and then we have calyx. So, calyx comprises the sepals of the flower. So, sepals protect the flower when it is still bud. Okay, so calyx comprises what? The sepals of the flower. Okay, and then receptacle supports the entire flower. So what is the function of receptacle? Supports the entire flower. So the peduncle or stalk connects the flower to the branch or stem. So the function of the peduncle or the stalk, it connects the flower to the branch or stem. So we have the corolla, calyx, receptacle, and peduncle or stalk. And then we have the stamen and pistil, so also called the carpel. So stamen and pistil are also called the carpel. So it comprises the essential parts because stamen and pistil are the reproductive organs of the flower. So the pistil is the female reproductive structure and the stamen is the male reproductive structure. Okay, so what is the female reproductive structure? Pistil. Okay, what is the male reproductive structure? Stamen. Okay, so here are the illustration. That is the parts of the stamen, stigma, style, and ovary. Okay, and then we have the pistil. So the first illustration there with the stigma, style, and ovary, that is the pistil. That is the female reproductive structure of the flower. And here, the figure 5.5 is the stamen or the male reproductive structure of the flower. So stamen is composed of pollens, anthers, and filament, while the pistil is composed of stigma, style, and ovary. Again, what is the female reproductive structure of a flower? Very good. What is the male reproductive structure of a flower? Very good. Okay, so now let's talk about pollination. So in pollination, it occurs when the pollen grain of one flower reaches the stigma of another flower. So this, the union of the first sperm and with the egg cell produces a plant zygote, which becomes a plant embryo. So the union of the second sperm with polar nuclei produces the endosperm, the food storage tissue around the embryo. That is pollination. Do you understand me? Okay, so there are kinds of pollination. The self-pollination wherein it occurs when the pollen is transferred from the stamen of the flower to the pistil of the same flower. The same flower, that is self-pollination, okay? Self-pollination, I mean. It is the transfer of the pollen from stamen of one flower to the pistil of the same flower. Do you understand? And then we have the cross-pollination wherein the pollen grains transferred from anther of the flower of the stigma of another flower of the same kind. Okay, that is cross-pollination. So what are the two kinds of pollination? Self-pollination and cross-pollination. Do you understand? And then we have the fertilization. So fertilization happens when one sperm cell of pollen grain fertilizes an egg cell while the other cell combines with a cell called endosperm. That is fertilization. Do you understand me? Okay, so here is an figure of fertilization. Okay, so the flower of mature. Okay, so that is fertilization. Do you understand me? So I have your question. What is a flower? Okay, what is a flower? Flower is the reproductive structure of a plant. So what are the parts of a flower? Okay, what are the parts? Corolla, calyx, stamen, pistil, receptacle, and pedicel. Okay? And then, what is pollination? Okay, very good. Okay, how about fertilization? Very good. So pollination occurs when pollen grains of one flower reaches the stigma of another flower. While fertilization happens when a sperm cell of a pollen grain fertilizes an egg cell. Okay, while the other cell combines with cell called endosperm. Okay, so what did you learn today? Today we have learned about how flowers reproduce. Okay, so they reproduce by by pollination and fertilization. Now there are two kinds of pollination: the self-pollination and the cross-pollination. So the flower have the parts of flowers are corolla, calyx, stamen, pistil, receptacle, pedicel. So the stamen and pistil are the reproductive structure of the plant, wherein pistil is the female reproductive structure and the stamen is the male reproductive structure. Now, if you really did understand the lesson, let us proceed to your practice exercise. Now, here is your practice exercise. Answer check your knowledge, page 162. And here is your evaluation. So, in your evaluation, you're going to answer process what you know, page 162. So, don't forget to answer your practice exercise and your evaluation because I am going to check it. So, thank you for listening. See you in the next video. Bye.